You're standing on a crowded concrete platform. A train is rapidly approaching. The screech of the heavy metal wheels grows louder. The sudden wind hits your face. You're standing perfectly safe behind the yellow line. You have a life you care about. You have absolutely no desire to die. Yet, entirely out of nowhere, a quiet voice whispers in the dark corners of your mind. What if you just took one single step forward? What if you simply let yourself fall? Your stomach violently drops. You physically stumble backward, suddenly terrified of your own mind. You grip your coat until your knuckles turn white. You start to wonder if you are quietly losing your grip on reality. You begin to believe that you might be secretly dangerous. You wonder if there is a monster buried deep inside your head, just waiting for the exact right moment to take control. Think about this for a second. This psychological phenomenon makes absolutely no logical sense. Why would a healthy organism with a profound biological drive to survive suddenly visualize its own violent destruction? Why do you imagine swerving your car into oncoming traffic on a quiet highway? Why do you picture yourself dropping a fragile glass object for absolutely no reason? You hide these horrible images from everyone you love. You suffer in complete silence because you think these thoughts define your character. You think you are broken. But here is where it gets worse. You are not a psychopath. You're not losing your sanity. Those terrifying flashes of violence are not a malfunction in your hardware. They are an elite defense mechanism. Your brain is deliberately torturing you with horror. To understand why your mind plays these brutal tricks, we need to travel far back in time. We must leave the concrete train platforms of the modern city completely behind. We are going back 75,000 years into the freezing, jagged mountains of the last ice age. You are walking along a narrow, icy cliff edge. The freezing wind is violently pushing against your chest. Below you is a sheer drop of 1,000 feet into the rocks. One wrong movement means an immediate unrecorded death. In your arms, you are carrying your infant child. You're solely responsible for the fragile continuation of your genetic line. In this unforgiving environment, your brain cannot afford a single moment of complacency. A relaxed primate on the edge of a cliff is a dead primate. Evolution needed a way to guarantee your absolute physical caution. So, it developed a radical strategy. It built a virtual reality horror simulator inside your skull. Suddenly, without warning, your brain flashes a terrifying visceral image. It forces you to vividly imagine opening your arms and dropping your child into the dark abyss. It forces you to picture yourself deliberately stepping off the icy ledge. The image is so gruesome and real that your stomach drops. Your heart pounds aggressively against your ribs. What happens next is the absolute key to your survival. Your grip instinctively tightens around your child. You physically step away from the dangerous edge. Your body reacts to the imaginary horror by aggressively securing your safety in the real world. The terrifying thought did exactly what it was designed to do. Think about that for a second. The horrific image was not a reflection of your secret desires. It was a biological fire drill. By forcing you to experience the extreme emotional pain of the worst possible outcome, your ancient nervous system guaranteed that you would never let it happen. The brain uses the nightmare to train your impulse control. It shows you the catastrophe so your physical body will actively reject it. This invisible alarm system is not just an evolutionary theory. It was exposed in a quiet laboratory in the year 1978. A clinical psychologist named Stanley Rachman at the Institute of Psychiatry in London wanted to look inside the dark corners of the normal human mind. He gathered hundreds of perfectly healthy individuals with absolutely no history of mental illness or violence. He asked them to anonymously confess the sudden unwanted thoughts that flashed through their heads on a daily basis. He wanted to see what the human brain did when it thought nobody was watching. When the researchers opened the sealed envelopes, the results were deeply chilling. They found a catalog of pure, unprovoked horror written by gentle, ordinary people. More than 90% of the participants admitted to experiencing the exact same violent flashes. They imagined throwing themselves out of high windows. They pictured pushing strangers under moving buses. They visualized deliberately steering their cars into oncoming traffic. Rachman had discovered something completely revolutionary. The darkest thoughts imaginable were not a rare mental disease. They were a universal feature of the healthy human experience. But here is where it gets absolutely fascinating. Decades later, modern neuroscientists finally mapped this exact process using advanced brain scans. They observed the physical hardware of the mind as one of these horrific images flashed across the screen of consciousness. They watched a highly specialized region called the anterior cingulate cortex suddenly light up with intense electrical activity. This area is the strict error detection center of your brain. Think about this for a second. The brain is not generating a secret desire to kill or die. It is running a high-speed risk assessment. It creates a brutal, high-definition simulation of the worst possible outcome in your immediate environment. It instantly flags that simulation as a catastrophic error, and it violently vetoes the physical action. Every time you feel that sudden wave of sickness and pull your hand away from a sharp knife, the mechanism has worked perfectly. The nightmare is simply your biological machinery successfully testing its own brakes to ensure you stay alive. Now, come back to the edge of the train platform. The heavy metal train rushes past you. The violent wind hits your face again. Look down at your own hands. The guilt you have been carrying inside your chest for all these years is completely misplaced. You can finally stop fighting your own reflection. You can stop questioning your morality every time you hold a sharp object or stand near a high ledge. You are not a monster. You are not a hidden psychopath secretly waiting to lose control. The fact that these sudden thoughts deeply disgust you is the exact biological proof that you will never act on them. If you were truly dangerous, the dark images would bring you comfort. They bring you panic instead. That panic is the evidence of a healthy mechanism functioning flawlessly. You are simply carrying a 300,000-year-old security system inside your fragile skull. It is doing exactly what it was optimized to do. It is continually scanning the modern world, identifying the absolute highest point of danger, and screaming at you to step back. The horror you feel in your stomach is just the price you pay for your own safety. Think of your ancient brain as an overzealous, highly trained bodyguard. Imagine this paranoid guard is assigned to protect you inside an entirely empty, quiet mansion. Because there are no real assassins hiding in the dark woods anymore, the guard becomes desperate. He starts pointing his weapon at the furniture. He starts treating the open windows and the simple kitchen knives as catastrophic, immediate threats. He is aggressively trying to save your life in a civilization that no longer requires his level of violence. So, you do not need to fight these dark flashes anymore. You do not need to feel ashamed of the temporary horror running through your head. When the sudden, terrifying image appears on the edge of the platform, do not push it away. Just let it pass. Acknowledge that it is merely your ancient biology conducting a routine, brutal safety check. We are all just fragile passengers, quietly enduring the nightmares our own minds invent to ensure we survive the ride.